this is like an open space. Imagine like you have cubicles of like people here. They don't have closed doors, so it's not like it's like a communal shower, but people can see you in all your glory. Like you're naked, people can see you. People are there staring at you, waiting for you to like finish like showering and bathing. I literally walked in, saw this naked people, and I walked out straight. I was just like, I'm not showering. I don't care what anybody say. Shalom, hurry up. Coming. Hey global citizens, welcome to another episode of Migrantics. This is your host Mitchelle.
And I'm Shalom.
And we are here to share all things migrants living overseas and just, keeping the culture going. So we have a few things going to happen in this episode. We're going to have a few little segments, and I kind of want to start off this episode by talking about culture shock, but I want to do it like in a reverse kind of way. So it's going to be like reverse culture shock. So since we've been living here in Australia I've been living here for 7 years, and you've been here for like
4 years.
4 years, yeah. What has been the most surprising thing that has shocked you going back home?
I think it's missing a lot out of people's lives, I guess, because before you're always there. You're there for every birth, every wedding, everything that happens. So missing out on like kind of big chunks of things, I guess that's a bit of a culture shock. So you're in the loop, but not really in the loop.
Yeah, I guess for me is I don't know how my own country's currency works. I have no idea how the currency works, what it's supposed to be. The changing, what does it call them? The rate?
Right.
Yeah, so I actually don't know how money works in my home country at all. It's really bad, but it's not my fault that the country keeps changing currencies and they keep changing rates every day or something like that, something crazy like that. So that is my culture shock, like literally currency. Another one would be like you get so comfortable being overseas, like you really like we always have electricity, we always have running water. Yeah, you actually miss a lot back home, like when electricity goes back in our home country, it's like, oh, electricity is gone, okay, cool, that's fine.
Yeah, I guess you kind of miss those aspects of electricity, running water, or like you don't have to put so much effort for the basic utilities you have. With that, I would say that, yeah, it is different. It is definitely not as you remember it when you moved, and after you moved, you really tend to appreciate the small things, definitely.
And I feel like I'm getting way more spoiled, like living overseas. I'm now becoming more like softer, if you know what I mean, like soft as in like
soft life.
Yeah, like I've embraced the soft life. I've embraced the no candles. Like, what? Candles are for decoration. Candles are for like setting up the mood, not for when electricity goes out. That's my hot take. But anyway, like, yeah, like I'm used to now that whole like, oh yeah, you have a candle, you like put it on. It's for like the aroma, so for the fragrance. It's also for like setting like the dining table. It is not meant for electricity going out and you have nothing else to use to see in the dark, I
think one thing that was it's not super shocking, but was that when we bathed here, you go in the shower, which there are many showers in Zimbabwe, don't make it like that. But because of a specific situation, we had to fill water outside in buckets and have to carry the buckets in the house, heat up your water to bath in. That was very humbling experience.
Yeah, I can't deal with that. Oh yeah, like using I don't know how to describe it because I feel like people take this the wrong way.
It's not every situation. There's running water, there are facilities in Zimbabwe, but because of specific situations sometimes.
If electricity goes, then your water, like your hot water is gone. And imagine having no electricity for like days or so, or like 2 days or whatever. It's like, am I gonna shower with cold water in the winter? No. So you kind of have to do what you need to do. Grab water, heat it up on like a gas stove because gases will still be running and whatnot. And then you're just gonna have to do a bucket water wash, and that is okay as long as you are clean. In my opinion, as long as you are clean, you don't smell, and it's actually like you're actually properly washing and taking care of your body, that is completely fine.
Bucket baths are actually okay. Like, people do that in life.
As long as I'm not showering with cold water, I don't care. Like, to be honest, as long as I'm clean, I really don't care. The only thing I was talking to somebody and I was talking about how like in Zim I went to this camp. Yeah, it was a church camp, and this was like the only time I was allowed to like stay over for like a day or night. That was the first and the only time I've ever done that. And one of the things, like at the church camp, there are like hundreds of other kids, hundreds of kids, right? And then you're sharing like facilities with them. And these kids are waking up at like in the AM. So let's say 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning just to shower before anybody else. But then the showers, oh my gosh, like even if you wake up at 4 a.m., whatever, to shower, the water is freezing. And where the camp was like a lot of open spaces. And that was like the first time I was just like, hell no, I am not doing this. I'd rather not bathe.
I don't think I showered. I think I remember that camp. I don't think I showered for
I didn't shower too.
about 2 days. 3 days.
Like, one, this is like an open space. Imagine like you have cubicles of like people here. They don't have closed doors. So it's not like it's like a communal shower, but people can see you in all your glory. Like you're naked. People can see you. People are there staring at you, waiting for you to like finish like showering and bathing. I literally walked in, saw this naked people, and I walked out straight. I was just like, I'm not showering. I don't care what anybody says. I'll make sure I am clean in other ways, but I am not showering. But then we got lucky because then I remember speaking to somebody like, yeah, don't worry, there's this house, the actual houses for like pastors, and those are really nice facilities. Like they actually live there, like it's their own houses, and they're like, yeah, just come to our house and you can shower there. That was my saving grace. But after that I was just like, hell no, I'm going home where there's hot water, where there's privacy, and I can shower in peace.
Yeah, but fun times.
Memories.
Fun times.
Not fun. I'll never do that to my kids. Never.
So we have an Am I the A-hole segment, and this is kind of migrant and relationships and all the good stuff. So I will read it before any context. Is am I the a-hole for making my girlfriend leave the country? So with that, it's not sounding good, but let's get into it. So this is my first time posting on Reddit. Forgive me of any areas or if the format is weird. I also can't give too many details as my girlfriend and a lot of close friends are avid Redditors. I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 27 female, for 5 years. We met in college, which I think is like uni, where she was an international student. She started working after graduating while I'm currently doing a master's. Her company was sponsoring her visa until they got bought out and she got laid off. She was given a limited time to find a new employer to sponsor her a new visa, and it really stressed her out. She was applying to jobs every day and did a lot of interviews, but unfortunately wasn't able to get an offer. She really wanted to stay because she loves the place and I would still be here in the country. While I was out with a buddy, he suggested that I sponsor her visa since we have been in a relationship for quite some time. I love her and I didn't want to see her stressed out, and I told her about the idea. She was hesitant at first. She said she did not want me to think that she was with me, so I could be her way to a permanent residency or citizenship of the country. I wanted her to stay and I wanted her to do it. We consulted an immigration consultant and decided to do the paperwork on our own. She was the one who mostly looked into the stuff we needed to prepare. She still applied for jobs, but not as urgently as she used to. It took a while since we never really had anything joint. We lived together and just split the bills on our own. She had enough saved up to be okay for a while. I had to fill out some paperwork to be her sponsor, and I felt uneasy about it. I didn't want her to stay, but it felt like it was too much. Eventually, she was done with her part, and all of that was left was mine. I finally told her that I didn't want to go through with it. She was very upset and asked why. I told her that I suggested the idea because I didn't want to see her stressed out all the time. And I eventually realized that I shouldn't have to be responsible for her. We had a long talk where I told her that I still want to be in a relationship with her, but I just don't want to be forced to be responsible for her. She said she felt hurt by what I said. Things changed and she didn't really talk to me after. She kept applying for jobs and attending interviews, but eventually her visa expired. Before she left, I told her I love her and that I would really want her to come back. However, she told me that she sees me in a different way after the things I told her. It has been a few weeks since she left. I miss her cooking, her presence, and being able to spend time with her. I really want a future with her. However, our close friends have been telling me that I was an a-hole. I disagree and I think they're biased. So here I am asking the Reddit, am I the a-hole?
Yes. That was a quick yes. I really knew from like the title, just like, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Ugh, where do we begin? Like literally, this girl was, to summarize, pretty much. This girl got laid off from her job they were sponsoring, so obviously she needs to get a new visa ASAP, or she has to go outside of the country and whatnot. But then she's really struggling because she can't find a job. She's going for job interview, etc. It's affecting her relationship with this guy who's noticing all this. So he offers, unprovoked, he offers to be like, hey, I've heard about, a partner visa. And they both went willingly to see an immigrant consultant. And then they decided together to be like, yeah, let's go through with this, And then he just decides later on to be like, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Oh my god, that is... I have no words, but definitely he is the asshole. Because, like, one, your girlfriend is already stressed out and whatnot. This person you said you love and whatnot. And then, like, the whole thing for him to offer is it's literally him basically saying that, oh, I'm just saying this so you don't stress out as much because you're stressing me.
It was just, I think, words that meant nothing when it came for the action to actually do stuff. Because even when they went to the immigration agent and after she was doing all the paperwork, she was doing all the work, then it came to a part where he probably had to do the most minimal task of paperwork, and he was like, you know what, I'm uneasy about this, but I suggested it, gave you a glimpse of hope, and there, it's gone.
Yeah, and he probably convinced her because he literally said that she was hesitant to do this because she didn't want to make it seem like she was after him for like visa or whatever.
Yeah.
See, this is why I'm just like, I don't depend, that men will live here in the desert without water.
Where's that from?
That's from the reality show, the South African one. Rich African, something like that, Literally when Kanye said, men will live here in the desert without water. And I feel like this person is feeling that. Like, imagine, because I'm on a visa, I want like a visa sponsorship by my work. Kind of imagining if like in this situation how I would feel. I'll be so pissed. I'll be so mad. I'll be cussing this person out. but particularly because like she's already there. She did a master's, right?
Yeah. No, so they met in uni, bachelor's, and then he went on to do her master's. She started working.
Oh, she started working from the jump. Okay, cool. So she's already like independent, already working. She came to a country probably, I'm assuming, by herself if she's getting deported and whatnot. So she's already like not relying solely on this guy. And now she's in a situation where she's like vulnerable. She needs a support network. She needs like a partner. And then he does like the audacity.
Yeah.
Like I understand. Like honestly, for me the issue is he offered. It's not like she asked him. She'd never asked this guy to do this. He offered. He even convinced her. He even went with her to a whole immigration consultant. So he made it seem like he was definitely into this. That's my issue with all of this. Like, unprovoked, you didn't have to offer. Just because she was stressed. Of course she's gonna be stressed. We will not be stressed when this is happening. And she was doing something about it. But because you have your offer, she kind of slacked a little to be like, oh, now I have a plan. I'm gonna go with my boyfriend to do this visa thing and whatnot. I feel like the issue is he realized that if she gets the visa and whatnot, they have to stick into a relationship, and he doesn't actually want a relationship.
Oh, that is a suggestion. But playing devil's advocate, he could have. Like, it's definitely an a-hole move, but he's within his rights. I'll just read the edit before we go on. So he wrote an edit and he said, I have read through a lot of comments and everyone seems to think I'm the a-hole here. To those asking what my responsibilities would be, I would have to be financially responsible for her for 3 years. If she gets any government assistance or social welfare, I would have to pay it back. I also can't sponsor anyone else until the 3 years have passed. Also, I listed what I missed about her in no particular order. I listed that I miss her cooking first, but it doesn't mean I don't miss her. To the people who said I'm probably an immigrant too, what does that have to do with anything? My parents moved to where we are now, so here I am. I still stand by what I say. No one I know has to do anything like this. It just does not feel normal. I wouldn't want to eventually have a home with her. I would want to eventually have a home with her, but I don't think anyone should have to be responsible for another person's decisions or their circumstances. It's just gaslighting if you convince someone that they should be. I don't know if anyone will see the edit since it has been a few days. I have updates, so I'll probably do a separate post about it.
The more you describing the edits, I'm like, what does that have, like, financially responsible for?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, he has to be financially responsible for her. To be fair, okay, playing devil's advocate, I do think he's the a-hole, but she's in a position where currently she doesn't have a job. She's been applying and not able to have a job. So if she sponsored her, who knows if she'll be able to get a job? I think she would be because she has great experience. But then if she gets any government assistance and social welfare, and after the 3 years have passed, he would have to pay it back. He would have the financial responsibility to pay everything back.
But why didn't you talk to her about this? In fact, if they went to the immigration consultant would have gone with all the requirements needed for both parties, like what are the risks and whatnot. Like I've talked to like over 20 immigration consultants, lawyers, specialists, and they will literally tell you things to be like, be mindful of XYZ, this is what it entails and whatnot. So for me, I'm just like, it still doesn't warrant, because I feel like he blindsided her in a way, because if they went to the consultant and this was all detailed, he could have been like, okay, now that I have more information, I'm sorry, I don't think I can go through this because I'm probably not the right person for this, etc. I feel like, one, he doesn't want to, I don't want to make this a money thing because people are going to be like, oh, why doesn't he want to spend money on his girlfriend or whatnot? In fact, I think if you reread that, he literally said that she saved up money. She saved up money. So she's not like she doesn't have money. She probably would have saved up enough money for like a couple of weeks or something for her to find a job. I feel like the only issue is that the deadline for when your job says you're done, and then when your visa expires is extremely short, which might make it harder to actually, get a job in that short time. And then I'm just going to speak for Australia. It's very hard for anybody without a visa to get a job at all. Like usually they want you to have something before you get into it. It's very hard for a good company to sponsor you and the like. It's actually extremely hard. So that would have taken a little bit of time, but it's not like impossible to do that. So my issue is just like he didn't like the idea of like, oh yeah, and now I have like a promised thing. I feel like this is the whole non-commit. You didn't want to commit to something that you couldn't handle. I think that's the bottom line. You could not commit.
And what makes him more the a-hole is at the end he's like, oh, I've just been calling her to see if we can like get back together, and this is going to be a long distance relationship. I think that ship has sailed. There is no way.
Leave him. It's not worth it. Like literally, like you could have been dying and I feel like something would have happened. Like literally, this is like your whole livelihood. He's seeing you stressed, he's seeing you struggling, and then he does this. Like I would have dumped you from like the jump. Like I'll like it's not even because of this, right? For me, I'm just like, one, I would not have relied on you in the first place, because honestly speaking, I wouldn't want like my partner to think I'm using them for like their citizenship or something like that. So for me to be stressing over this and trying to figure it out, you're my support network, you're in this relationship with me. It's like, oh yeah, you offer to do this, and then at the last, and then you just take it away. Like, wow, I'm struggling. I'm just like, you shouldn't have offered. You should have just been like, I understand this is stressful. Let me help you try and see what we can do to find jobs for you. You could have supported me in that way, and that would have been totally fine. Yeah. But that is an interesting story, and which literally brings us to how hard it is for any kind of migrant, immigrant, however you identify, to come into the country and find a job. Like, it is extremely hard. Like, I was very passionate about this because I'm like, I'm on a visa as well. This like struck a nerve with me because I'm like, damn, this could be me. Like, literally could have been me.
Could be anyone, really.
Yeah. And I feel like when people are coming to like Australia, or at least like from our age, like if you come, like they're literally in the same position, because a lot of like migrants our age, or the way we do it is like we come here to study and then we kind of just stay because we like the country and all of that. But for a lot of people, they don't think about what that entails, like visas. Nobody's thinking about a visa when they come to study. Only thing you're thinking about is like, oh, what degree am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? You're not thinking about what degree is going to make me stay in the country, what degree is going to make it easy for me to provide for my family and all of that. Because I literally never thought about it when I came to Australia. I was just like, oh yeah, I like traveling, I like different cultures, I'm going to do international business and I'm going to minor in finance. There's no job option for international business in Australia, like you're literally going to be like, what job would actually make me stay in Australia? So I stressed out about that until recently, when the job that I actually do is now being offered as a job that Australia needs, like actually saying, yeah, you can stay as long as you do this job. So that's something like I feel like people don't really think about too much. And then once you get into the country, you're just like, oh, I'm screwed, I don't know what to do, what am I going to do, and all of that. And then on top of that, you have the other side of the thing is finding a job as an international student or even just a migrant is really, really hard, in the sense that workplaces here really don't want anybody who they can see as a liability. Like if they have to pay for you, they don't want you. If you don't have the right working conditions or that meets the requirements of like a visa, they don't want you. It is extremely hard particularly if you're coming here with no experience. It's different for skilled migrants, but then at the same time for skilled migrants, it's like your job has to be universally like transferable. Because I've heard stories of like people like who are doctors in other countries, here they're not doctors, or in another part of the world they're not doctors because the qualifications aren't recognized.
Common one is lawyer. So if you study law outside of Australia, it kind of is a bit difficult to study here. You have to do like another degree, and then
I guess that makes sense because laws and rules are different in each country. Yeah, so that's really, really hard for people looking to get into Australia, or pretty much America. Can like literally, it's pretty much hard because I have these conversations all the time with different people about like just the challenges of migrants moving to different countries, making a home, and you know how our starting lines aren't the same starting lines as people who grew up in here in these countries. That we have to do extra, we have to prove ourselves, we have to be like a certain type of person. And then on top of that, if you have a language barrier, that's also really difficult. If you have different accents, that could prove to be difficult as well. Because I've literally heard of people saying the same thing, to be like, oh, just because of my accent I have been like discriminated against and all of that, which is really difficult.
it seems to be a little different privileges throughout. I know when I was applying for jobs, especially kind of jobs to do with what you studied, it would be you'd siphon through all the, oh, you don't have an Australian citizenship or PR, and that takes about 80% of the jobs of the market. Then the rest of the 20%, there are like lots of international students who want those jobs, so it becomes very competitive. So yeah, there is a difficulty to that.
But I think, like COVID, what happened was terrible. COVID was horrible. Nobody wants to like revisit all of that. But, post COVID, I feel like there's been a bit more demand for international students, migrants, and all of that. Particularly in Australia, because they really hated on migrants during COVID and whatnot, because literally I remember like hearing the Prime Minister at the time saying that if you cannot afford to stay in this country, get out. And that was terrible. Like literally I'm just like, you're the Prime Minister of this country. International students make up like fourth of the economy in terms of like money wise. Like they make money, because paying 3-4 times more fees, student stuff, than the citizens, And those aren't loans. Those are actually like money. Like you have a deadline you have to pay. At that deadline, if you can't pay it, you can't go to like uni or school, whatever. So hearing that was really like discouraging. It was really hard because I know people couldn't actually do jobs because at the time, like literally you still had those hours you were banned, you still couldn't do like much work and everything. Like the first people to get like government assistance were citizens for like I feel like for like a whole year, citizens and PR people. I might be wrong, but citizens and PR people could get actual assistance. Then it did open up eventually to people from other nationalities and the like living in Australia. But yeah, those were difficult times. And now it's kind of like, I feel like the brunt of that is being seen to be like, oh, these people actually provide so much benefit to the country. They provide so much. And I feel like that's the case worldwide in the sense that people don't realize how much migrants and immigrants, how much they benefit the country. A lot of jobs that people don't want to do, migrants are doing those jobs, or immigrants are doing those jobs. I'm going to just say migrant because migrant means immigrants or whatever. But yeah, migrants are just doing those jobs. Things that are skilled that nobody else can do, migrants can also do those. Like literally, I think people are now starting to see the value. We're seeing job opportunities opening up, people looking for skilled migrants all over, which is fantastic to see. And I think this is a very good point in time for those looking to get out of their home countries and do better for themselves elsewhere to kind of do so, because why not?
And in as much as it's opening, I think there's a more importance on a globalized world, and economies generally benefit from that sort of stuff. So definitely there are opportunities to take into account. So doing as much research, because they're definitely opening up. Like every now and again I scroll through TikTok and see people talking about like nurses that are needed from certain countries, or like doctors or stuff like that. It's definitely, even if you don't want to live here, I guess that travel aspect is also more open to international people and migrants as well.
I think that's pretty much it for this episode. We're literally just going over, and I feel like the more we're doing this, we're getting way more comfortable with talking to you guys, our community. We love to see the traction. We love to see seeing the support. And yes, if you do want to send your stories over, put it in the comments. Just say we want to send our stories over. We want to send what we know, and we can put up like an anonymous kind of form or an email, so you can send in your stories. And the like of life as a migrant, like it's time we hear stories of our situations, how we are doing in different countries, and building that community. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to. And also be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We are here every week, so stay tuned to listening. And we are so excited. I know the support is going to be crazy. I know like we have people, and I very have a name for the community. It's called Global Citizens, because I think that embodies us so much, that we are all global citizens wherever we're not limited by a country. So thank you, Global Citizens, and cannot wait to see you next time.
See you next week.
Bye.